So I'm on day 3 of the grand YouTube experiment. Still practicing, still trying to get better. But I don't know. I've had a response. Like even if it's a minor response, even if it's a few people, I don't know. It just feels very gratifying. It's one of those things I've always wanted to do, but never tried because I was scared I would fail. So even if I get a minor success, any sort of viewership, it feels like a success at this point. So I'm grateful to anyone who's watched any of my stuff, given it a like, even subscribed. I'm not asking anyone to do that sort of stuff at this point because I can't say my quality is high enough to be, begging people for their support. So no. But if you do like my stuff, thank you. And just thank you for giving it a watch. Thank you for, in the attention economy, giving me the time of day, even if it's a 30 seconds. It's like this entire world is an attention economy now, so people's time is valuable, and I appreciate, giving it to me, even if it's to watch my ramble. Stuff I want to talk about. I just want to break down the points I was making earlier. One about Shamima Begum. Now, I'm not a fan of hers. It's one of these weird things where you're not allowed to. It's like you can't hold two thoughts and then they're mutually. How do I put this? So these thoughts are not mutually exclusive. The idea that she was a child groomed into like a death cult terrorist organization, but also that she should be responsible for any crimes that she was involved with or committed herself. Like those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can believe both of them at the same time. And the same with regards to Jack Letts, who was also stripped of his citizenship before her, because the simple fact is, if you want to talk about slippery slopes, which people do, especially the right wing, so much with regards to the culture war that they seem to want to fight, then how can you not see that as a slippery slope? The idea that now the British state can strip you of your citizenship if it deems the crimes you've done bad enough. But in terms of historical context, we've had criminals, people who collaborated, traitors who collaborated with enemy states in a time of war. So, it's a relevant comparison. And what happened to them? Like the two examples I brought up in my little short thing was John Amory. He wrote pro-German propaganda during the war. He tried to raise a legion of British soldiers, other sympathizers who basically ended up in France after Dunkirk, but were sympathetic to the Germans. When that failed, he ended up going to Germany and writing pro-German propaganda. He was captured by Italian partisans towards the end of the war, handed over to the British, and what did we do? It wasn't like made stateless. We didn't. The state didn't wipe its hands of him. The state basically said, "Okay, now you're going to pay for your crimes," and he was executed because he was found as treason, executed and hung in 1946. Now, oh, sorry, no, he was hung on the 19th of December 1945. Another less extreme example is John Lingshaw. I'm sorry to any Johns out there who've heard this, listened in, because I'm not aiming to blame Johns or claim Johns are suspect characters. They just were the two easiest examples to use. So he collaborated while he was interned in 1946 off the Jersey Island. Sorry, he collaborated while he was interned on Jersey Island, and then he was caught after the war, handed over, and he ended up getting 5 years penal service because his crimes had not directly aided the Nazis enough, or the enemy enough to, be seen as direct treason. So, I chose these examples just to show that if you're an enemy combatant, whether it's a state or non-state, you should be treated as such, and you're entitled to justice. But on the other side of it, the citizens of that state are entitled to see you pay for your crimes, rather than just washing the hands of it and using it as a propaganda tool to generate hate. Honestly, with regards to certain subject matter, it does seem like the British are conditioned to 2 minutes hate levels of reactionary behavior. Like Begum's one of them, and like I say, don't even try to twist my point. On personal, I think she's scum. I think she's an idiot, and also scum. Like to have any sort of delusions of supremacy on any side, I'm not going to be a fan of that. So she should come and pay for her crimes. But to make her stateless is giving the it's that's the slippery slope. Far more than, I don't know, whatever culture or aspect you want to talk about, removal of statues of slavers, that's gonna affect your average British citizen's life, not none whatsoever. Or even if you don't want to do that, you could put all these statues of slavers up in an imperial statue park with plaques giving the historical context. So we're not destroying history, we're just moving it to somewhere where if you want to look at that aspect of history, it's all there. And also, if you want to know the true historical context, it's also all there. That's a reasonable solution to the issue. But no, instead that's going to destroy cultures because people are wanting to get rid of these statues of slavers, but giving the state the ability to treat you worse than it treated Nazi collaborators in terms of justice is not a slippery slope. That's fine. That's okay. I don't know. It just seems like there's a huge gap there. I don't know. Connecting the dots doesn't seem so hard for some people, but for others, it like they can't see that. And I was also another thing I was talking about in my shorts was about deception by omission in the UK media. So if you look at the media reporting on the budget, it's all about how they've extended furlough, and that is good. Don't like again, don't misunderstand the argument. It's good that they've extended furlough. They need to, otherwise the economy would literally collapse if they didn't extend furlough because universal credit is not going to cover people's living expenses. To remove people from furlough to put them onto universal credit would just cause a widespread bankruptcies that the economy at this point couldn't handle. So that is a right move. However, as usual with the British media, it's not about outright deception, it's about framing. So they're all framing it as, oh, this is good news. No one's framing it as we have to do this because we failed with COVID up until this point. If we hadn't failed with COVID, we wouldn't be here. No one's putting it in that frame. No one puts it in the other frame of, well, we can deal with these issues regarding COVID, but still after that, we've got to deal with Brexit. Like the economic impact of Brexit, it's been going 2 months and already there's no positives, there's no upsides. You might see some upsides long term, but are they going to outweigh the losses, the downsides? Looks highly doubtful so far. Now, why am I just some random dude on YouTube screaming into the void that is YouTube? So again, thank you for anyone who's listening, able to ask these questions, but people who are journalists paid a ton of money to be the upholders of our standards with regards to government. They're supposed to hold government to account. They can't ask these questions. They can't use this framing, even though to me it seems like it's the correct framing to use. And that's why I use that Einstein quote because it just seems insane. This is literally what happened last year, but we're going to do the same stuff. We're going to rush to reopen, push everything out, and as long as there's not a super variant, it might work because of vaccinations. But we are rolling the dice. And why? Why risk it when we've been through a year of pain already? Why not do it properly and support people full lockdown but full support? But no, we can't do that because, we can't give poor people money. The Tories have got to be able to give it to their chums. That's what the government is there for. It's to give money to the Tories' chums, apparently. Like I say, it just seems a bit insane to me. So yeah, that's a little bit more detail about my shorts.